Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to share with you a quick tool that's been super helpful for me in leadership and in be able to manage people well and be able to give people that I supervise what they need to accomplish their goals. And it's just a way to serve them and give you common language to use with your team as you help develop people that work with you. This is from Situational Leadership. It's a book by Ken Blanchard, and it's super good. But I'm going to give you my perspective, obviously, on it. Very simple, and he goes way deeper into it in the book. But just the tool itself, super simple to use. So I'm just going to draw a square here for us to give us some ways to looking at this. And this square represents a couple things. So this axis here at the bottom represents the amount of directive behavior that your people in your team need from you. And this right here, the vertical axis, represents the amount of supporting behavior that they need from you. In other words, if they're in this box here, they need a lot of direction in the goals that they are trying to accomplish. And the higher that they go, the more support they need from you and not as much direction. And we're going to label these boxes here S1, S2, S3, and S4. Now, when people have their goals, so let's say like in our organization, they typically will have their top four priorities for the next 4 weeks. We call this a 4x4. And as they develop their goals, most of their goals will fall into one of these categories. If it falls in box number one, it basically means that they need what's called directing style of leadership from you. So I'm going to just write it down here, directing. And this is when they really need you to hold their hand. People that maybe they've never done that task before, maybe one of their responsibilities is to plan an event. And they're like, I've never planned this event before. I'm new in this. I need you to hold my hand. I need you to really direct me and tell me what spreadsheets to use, how to track the budget, how to manage the expenses, where to buy things, who to recruit, and how to think of it. They need a lot from you. You're very involved in that specific goal with that person. Now, there's some categories or some people that they'll fall under more this category here, which we would call coaching is what they need from you. So they don't need you necessarily to be directing every step they take, which is a category that it requires a lot of time from you as a manager, but they do need you to coach them. And in this case, you might just want to give them a book to read, an article to read, or share with them your experience and paradigms and perspectives to use as they plan that event or accomplish that goal in whatever way they need. So you're a coach as they run with the task. You're not doing it necessarily for them, but you are kind of directing them in accomplishing that as a coach instead. Now, the box number 3 is what we call supporting. Um, People that have areas of responsibility that are in the supporting box, they really just need you to ask them questions. So you're not really a coach for them. You're not directing them and holding their hand. They don't need, if you can remember here, they don't need a lot of direction from you. What they need is help. You're helping discerning things. And the way that you lead from this point of view is really you help them by just cheering them on. You're not really pulling them. You are behind them, pushing them toward accomplishing their goals. You're building their confidence. You're guiding their decisions, and you're asking good questions to help them discern what they're doing. My leader, the person I follow, a lot of the way that he leads me is like this, where he'll basically, when I say, hey, what do you think I should do with this and that, and this is my goal, he won't tell me what to do. He doesn't necessarily always give me coaching. He will just ask me questions that help me come up with the conclusions myself. And it's a great way to lead people and to help them mature in their ability to lead without you. And the next box here is what we call delegating. And most of us have a good understanding of what this means. But the delegating box is if you have a certain goal that you're pretty competent in, and you really don't need a lot of support and you don't need a lot of direction. You can run with that on your own, and you basically can tell your supervisor, hey, I got this one. I've done it many times, and I can run without your direction, coaching, or support in this case. You can trust that I'll get it done. Now, here's a couple notes on this that are really, really important. I recommend actually not putting a person in a box. So it's not like a person is a person that always requires directing or coaching or supporting. It's more based on the responsibilities or the goals of that person. Because every person, no matter how good or bad they are, in general, they will have things that they are in their strength areas in and weak areas in. And it's better not to just put a person here, but to help them discern what part of their responsibilities are here, 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 or here. So for example, in my illustration of having 4 goals for 4 weeks. What I typically like to do with people that I help direct is as they write down their goals. So they might give me, 4 different goals that they outlined for me, and I'll ask them to say, hey, where do you think you are in each of these areas? In other words, what do you need from me as your leader as you accomplish those goals? And they might say, hey, in number one, in recruiting 25 volunteers for this event, I need you to be, I need an S1 style leadership. I need you to really walk with me and show me and guide me through that whole process. In the goal number two of executing this one other event, I've done that before. Can you just coach me? Can you just give me guardrails? Can you just give me some basic instruction, but let me run with that? And they might say, hey, in my third goal for the month, which is to teach my team a certain competency or content that I have. I've never done that before. And I really, or maybe they say, I have done this many times before. I just need you to take your hands off of me. Let me run with this one. And so forth. Now, a quick note, in fact, I actually have them write it down. So they'll say, by this goal, I'm an S1, by this goal, I'm an S3, by this goal, I'm an S4, and so forth. But then I might look at it with them and say, I know that you say that you're great at teaching and you want me to just delegate that to you and you're going to just, do that without any direction, coaching, or support. But I just really care about this part being aligned with our values as an organization. So instead of an S4 on that one, I would like to actually be involved with the process a little bit. I'm gonna can we just agree to do this one in an S3 kind of way, where I'm gonna manage you by just supporting what you're doing, but keep me in the loop. I'll ask you questions, I'll guide you, and so forth. And in some of them, you might want to do the opposite. They'll say, hey, in recruiting 25 volunteers, I'm an S1, walk with me in it, give me your time, and blah, blah, blah. And you might say as a leader to them, hey, honestly, I don't have the time right now to be able to directly do that goal with you at the level that you need, but I think you've done it enough times that you can do it with just my coaching. And I think you're just being secure, and you just need the confidence to get it done. So I'm gonna give you some coaching, but I'm gonna trust you to run. And we're gonna switch this to an S2. What this does is it gives you common language to use with your team so that expectations are matched, so that a team member is not saying, I wished or I wanted you to give me more direction and you didn't. I wanted you to let me free with that, but you held me tight with that. I wanted your support, but instead you delegated. And by you having aligned language and actually having the um, the discipline to have your team members write down the level that they're in all of these, you'll find that it'll be very effective in your leadership, and it helps your team get better and better. Now, a last part, you can read this in the book. There is a D1, 2, 3, 4 pathway. In other words, people get developed in this. So generally speaking, they do move, and they will move like this, where the more and more you lead them this way, the more and more that you can actually just delegate things to your teammates, and they will run with it without your direct supervision or direction, coaching, or supporting. But to be able to get there where a lot of your team members are at that level of leadership, you got to work the process. You got to have common language and aligned expectations. I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope that it helps you lead at a higher level. Thanks.